All right.
Oh. I wish you'd give me a countdown or something.
Oh, sorry.
I'm mid-text. And then, I'm up, be professional, Jeff. Oh, okay.
Oh, we are the most professional. We may not be the most professional, but damn it, we're the most tasty.
But we look good. That's the important thing.
Oh, well, you look good.
I always do.
I look all right.
I wouldn't say anything. But.
In my old age, I'm looking more and more like a disheveled old man. I definitely need a haircut. I need to lose, 15 pounds, too.
Welcome to the Game Tasty Show. It's the self-deprecating Game Tasty Show.
Do you feel too good about yourself? Listen to the Game Tasty Show.
That's right. It's kind of like when you're watching Jerry Springer and go, "Oh, I'm so glad it's not me." It's like, yeah, watch the Game Tasty Show.
Is Jerry Springer, is that still the hotness, or did that get taken over 10 years ago by Steve Wilkos?
Is Steve Wilkos even still on the air?
He is. I saw Steve Wilkos when I was sick. Either that or I dreamt it. And
Maury's still on the air.
Maury is?
I think so.
Good for him.
I mean, he's almost 90, right?
Hard to believe he's still married to Connie Chung.
I know.
Yeah.
And they're happy together.
Well, good for them.
They're like a rare celebrity couple that are actually happy together. This is amazing. Anyway, we're with Bacon.com, and every week we do a Game Tasty Show. We discuss video games, as we are wont to do, our favorite industry, our favorite business that we love so much.
It's a lifestyle for us.
That's right. I am Jeff Roth, an editor with NerdBacon.com.
I'm Dave the Watchman, news director, co-owner, and scribe of NerdBacon.com.
All of that actually fits on his business card.
That's right.
And we are live.
Tiny fonts.
That's right, yeah. Work on your point fonts there. We're live at twitch.tv/nerdbacon, mixer.com/nerdbacon. YouTube's kind of acting up. And Smashcast, the Nerd Bacon channel on Smashcast. Also, for your audio pleasure, we're there on Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, anywhere you get your audio podcast. That's not iTunes. That joke will hopefully run its course when we get onto iTunes.
So ironic that we're not on, there's some problem with YouTube and our feed is not going out to YouTube Live right now. Considering the subject matter of what we have to talk about today, and that is Google.
Right, so usually we do some quick hits, quick news hits, and of course we'll talk about other things besides Google, but that's obviously the main focus of today's show is what Google brought to the table. Dave, you did say you did have something real quick for a quick news beat.
I do have a couple of quick news beats, that's right. So let's just get this off, this news beat. See what I did? See what I did?
Okay, yeah. Sure,
right. Yeah. Let's see here. All right. So there really wasn't a whole lot over the past week, at least that I can remember, but one big item was that Bethesda announced that they will indeed be having an E3 2019 conference, and it's going to be a bit earlier this year. It's going to be at 8:30 Eastern. That's 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Usually they go on midnight Eastern or something like that. Usually 11 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. So, it's on that Sunday, as they always are, but it's going to be a little bit earlier, so that's kind of interesting. Two big takeaways from me. Okay. Actually, three.
Okay, let's keep
going. I'm turning into a Monty
1,
Python
2, 4,
sketch.
5, 6, 7.
So, three big takeaways from me. Number one, the graphic that they used to announce this. They're trying to push, all-inclusive gameplay, et cetera, et cetera. They're like, we want you there. But what was really interesting was that the writing for Bethesda E3 was in starlight, and all these characters are standing in a field. Now we're getting Starfield.
Now, didn't they do this a couple of years ago, and you freaked out about Starfield and didn't get it?
Probably.
Cool.
Yeah.
But Bethesda will never let us down ever in their products or services anyway.
I've got a freaking out addiction. I have an addiction to the hype.
You do. And for Starfield especially. I think it's because we don't know what Starfield is. It's going to be kind of their first game on their new wave of the game engines, and kind of, now we're going to live in a post-Elder Scrolls, post-Fallout, new IP world. Which is actually very exciting, and going to space, which is always a good thing. So we will mention Bethesda here coming up during our Google talk, because a game they featured will also be heavily featured at E3, Doom Eternal.
That's right.
Will be a big deal. So, I think Bethesda has enough in the chamber that they can have their own conference.
I'm kind of surprised, though, considering what a public relations disaster Fallout 76 has been. I thought maybe this is the year we're finally we're gonna take the powder here and just kind of lick our wounds, wait. I really can't see what they have to show for Starfield. I'm sure that game is like 2 or 3 years out at the earliest.
At some point, I mean, on some level, this has to be a make good for Fallout 76 and kind of say, hey, get back. We're begging you, get back on our side. We'll make it up to you. They'll mention something about, and Starfield will be there. Doom Eternal. I think Rage 2 comes out here pretty soon. Yeah,
Rage 2 will be out before E3. So yeah, they've said they're going to focus on Doom Eternal.
As they should.
But I think we might get some stuff on Starfield. The Cell Runner is hanging out with us in the chat. By the way, if you have not checked out his hot racing action on his Twitch channel, just look for him, the Cell with 1L Runner. Man, oh man, you should do that. He's got a quickly budding community there. He's also affiliated with us here at nerdbacon.com. So, yeah, give Cell Runner. Cell Runner says, I am trying to watch best I can, but I'm apparently in a nuclear bunker at this hotel, so I'm here-ish. That's all right. At least if the bombs start falling, you're protected.
I'm here-ish as well, so we're okay.
The other takeaway that I have, I think we covered 2 of my takeaways that I can
see. We are very resourceful and find ways to make all these points happen in one go.
The other takeaway that I had for Bethesda was that they're doing it on the same day, but it's a little bit earlier this year. So I wonder if that means, is Microsoft not going to do their conference on Sunday since Sony is not going to be at E3?
Yeah, I think that means Microsoft might get bumped. Well, I should say bumped, but will get their choice of taking over where Sony, the gap left by Sony.
Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting? They could go into that Monday evening primetime slot. Does Google come in for E3?
They have got to have a presence at E3. I think now the momentum is high. People are talking about Google as they should be because there's a lot to be excited about and lots to have questions about, and the gaming world is buzzing. I hate using that buzzword, but the gaming world's buzzing, and I think it would be in Google's best interest to keep the ball rolling. And what better way to get yourself introduced to the gaming masses than be at the biggest conference in the video game year.
I think it would be silly not to. And again, with that Sony-sized hole in everybody's hearts, it's got to be filled with something.
Yeah.
And what about an infinite number of O's that make up the word Google?
It goes forever, doesn't it?
It does.
Holy crap.
I just can't... I get onto the Google Doodle for a day. That's why they had to introduce the Google Doodle, It's because once you landed on the regular page, it felt like you were reading into infinity. Who is this? It's Level Up Justin. We have reached the next level. Level Up Justin is here in the chat. What is up, dude? How are you?
Dang, Level Up, dang. Dang.
Level Up Dank.
No, okay, there you go. All right, now we must move on.
Is that still a word?
No. No, it shouldn't have been. And now
no, do you remember those Dave Letterman sketches back when Dave Letterman was funny? He, who was it? He had this character on, like Manny the Hippie or something.
Okay.
And like he had 2 terms. Like if something was cool, it's like, oh man, that's dank. And if something was bad, it's like, oh dude, that's swag. So that was like really funny to me when I was 11.
Sure, yeah.
But for whatever reason.
And funny to you now, apparently too.
Well, some jokes should never die.
I tell you, I'm a Stephen Colbert fan. I've loved Stephen Colbert since I have seen him on TV. Period. So.
I'm not a big Stephen Colbert fan.
Now we can't be friends now.
Well,
this thing is for watching the show. We have to
get the hell out of the studio.
All right, cool. Yeah, the studio.
The studio.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Next up. By the way, have you watched Easy Allies' podcast lately since they moved into the new studio?
I have not, but I know you're a devout fan of theirs.
I do like Easy Allies a lot. I kind of don't like the studio.
Yeah.
I feel like part of Easy Allies' charm, this is way off the beaten track, but we're going to go with it.
I'm here for it.
Dave Letterman was funny, Cell Runner. Come on now. Late night comedy used to be funny.
I think he's funnier. He's funnier now because he stopped giving a crap,
I don't think he's funny.
Let the beard grow and he's like, I can do whatever I want to. It's great. Anyway.
He just became more bitter. Like in those final years, he was just like really...
He's reached Bret Hart status. Anyway,
yeah.
Easy Allies, go ahead.
Okay. Part of Easy Allies' charm, I felt, was just like... It was, for better or worse, just a bunch of friends hanging out in a garage or whatever, just talking about video games.
Yeah.
And it felt like you were part of the crew, so to speak. If we can go into It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia quotes, you were part of that crew. You felt like you were part of the gang. The studio just gives it a little bit more of a sterile feel.
Okay.
And I feel like they're just trying to be a little bit more professional. And I don't know. I kind of like stuff rough around the edges.
Can you imagine if we get like a professional studio?
I don't know, man. Like I said, I like stuff a little rough around the edges.
Sure.
If I were working full time on this, and this is all I'm doing, then yeah, maybe I'd want just like a separate studio space or something. But I'd still want it to feel like being in a home or something like that.
But all we need is just a backdrop with the logo on it.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
for me, very soon it'll be like I'll try to create the ambiance of being in an old folks home.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Because I'm so damn old.
This is very true.
The last bit of news that I had.
Yeah.
NPD numbers are just hitting right now. And I'm looking at the Twitter feed of Benji's sales. Here's what he says. Just some quick hits. Pull this back up. All right. Unsurprisingly, the Nintendo Switch was the month's best-selling console. This is for February.
Mm-hmm.
So Nintendo Switch wins February, achieved the highest dollar sales for any Nintendo hardware in February since 2011. That's pretty interesting.
Sure.
So 2011 would be like 3DS, I believe. Right around 3DS launch.
Boy.
That would have been before Wii U.
Yeah.
Because the Wii was kind of was definitely on the decline at that point.
Yes.
All right. Anthem, best-selling software for February.
Makes sense.
Second
Makes sense.
best ever BioWare launch.
Sure.
That surprises me a lot, actually, given the mediocre press that Anthem has received.
Well, I mean, how much of that is, hey, you have EA Origins Access Premier, so therefore you now have a copy of this game in your library?
I don't think any, actually. I think NPD only counts physical sales.
Okay.
I don't think they take digital into it.
Well, the marketing ramped up right before launch, and people started getting interested. So
Okay. Well, it's still good for them. I was definitely worried. And let's see. Jump Force was the second best-selling software for February, which, from all accounts, is not a good game.
Sure, but also with that, they did have a couple big tournaments right around launch too. I think Bandai Namco and Toei Animation and Original Cup Noodles, they all kind of went in on having these big Jump Force tournaments, and I'm sure that kind of helped boost hype for it. Plus, anime fans love their anime fighting games, so.
There you go. What kind of fighting game is it? It's not like a Dragon Ball FighterZ type thing.
It's sort of like, let's see, did you play the Xenoverse games?
Nope.
Okay. Did you play the Budokai games?
Yes,
okay.
I did play the Budokai games.
So I would say we're kind of in the Budokai area.
Okay, I got you.
Behind the back 3D fighting games.
Okay.
Which can, at some points, be indecipherable.
Sort of like Final Fantasy Dissidia.
That's very much, I'm sure you didn't play this, but I have a copy of J Plus, J Stars.
Oh, I've always flirted with getting that. I was like, hey, J Plus, what are you doing?
I've got a copy of that in my place.
You went all the way with J Plus.
I ended up buying that for cheap. Which probably what I'll do for Jump Force as well. I'll buy when it's cheap just to check it out. The PC mod is a PC mod that puts Shaggy in the game, replacing Vegeta. It's actually pretty good.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah.
You know I only look for nude mods.
I know you do.
Anyway, all right. What are we talking about? NPD sales.
Yeah.
All right, so Jump Force, number 2. Kingdom Hearts 3 is number 3, fittingly. Benji says it shows amazing legs for the genre.
Sure.
Best-selling title of 2019 so far, and 80% ahead of the Kingdom Hearts 2 launch when you align the two launches together.
No, and this is from as of today or as of when?
End of February.
Okay.
Metro Exodus debuts at number 8.
Sure.
And sets a franchise best performance. Crackdown 3, well, looks like a massive underperformer, is all Benji says.
Yeah.
Benji concludes, lots of data to dig into and context to give around these results. Join me later, yada yada.
Sure.
So there we go. But Big wins for Wii,
Yeah.
or for Switch.
Sure.
Not surprisingly, because you've got Xbox and PlayStation 4 at the end of their life cycles.
Yep.
And then you've got Switch, which is going into year 3.
Potentially getting a reboot. So
Yeah. And then, I was surprised at Anthem at number 2, actually. But hats off to BioWare. Congratulations.
I'm not surprised because that's kind of, between January and February, it's kind of one of the biggest games to come out in those first 2 months. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3, yeah, but to a very niche audience. I think that that fan base is well established. Anthem was kind of reaching towards the loot shooter fan base, as far as, like, do you like Destiny? You like Anthem, and I think that kind of broadens that out there. So
Mr. Level Up Justin raises an excellent point. He says it would be interesting to compare the numbers of downloads of Apex Legends, which EA published recently. That's the free-to-play game by Respawn. Downloads of Apex Legends to Anthem, considering they both dropped in February, but Apex Legends is not a physical release.
sure.
I think that's a great point. I think Apex Legends probably blew Anthem out of the water.
Yeah, and speaking of Apex Legends, the Season 1 Battle Pass dropped today.
Oh, that's right.
I think someone was either yesterday or today. It was 950 points or $10 basically.
Nice.
I may have to bite on that just to see what it is. I mean, just see what they put in that Battle Pass.
To piggyback on Level Up Justin's point,
Yeah.
I would like to see comparisons between the revenue that both are generating, like
Sure.
those digital sales, like all the add-ons and stuff for Apex Legends. Compare that to just like raw sales and downloads and stuff of Anthem, and see which one is doing better that way. Was the free-to-play model best, or was an actual release and then additional content on top of that, was that the best? That
Sure.
would be very interesting. But yeah, really very interesting how EA allowed two very different business models for two kind of similar games to happen all within a couple of weeks of each
And
other.
that's why I think a lot of Apex was Respawn. That's why there's more merit to the fact that it was Respawn saying, "Hey, stop pushing us under the stop putting us under the rug. Let's just hear us out here." EA said, "Fine, do it," and all of a sudden, whoo, okay,
Yeah.
they know they're talking about. So I think it was more Respawn than EA.
Rutsar is hanging out in the chat, says to Level Up Justin, speaking of Apex, I feel the new Overwatch character seems designed similar to Lifeline. Bothers me for some reason.
All right, here's what bothers me about Batiste.
Preach it.
I am somebody who is a Lucio main.
Over the hills and everywhere. I'm singing a little gospel back.
I know, yeah, thank you.
Down on the mountain goes Jeffroff is cool.
I'm a Lucio main. He's my boy and has been since the game launched. And Batiste is basically going to replace Lucio because he's a more powerful Lucio because they're nerfing the speed boost and they're making the Dave.
Sorry.
I can't think and preach at the same time. But they're gonna make Batiste, the heal boost extend for further than Lucio was. So they're gonna take my main away. So now I gotta learn playing to Batiste, and now we'll see how that affects Overwatch League.
Terrible. If you can't think and preach, you just gotta let the spirit dwell in you.
The spirit reside within me.
You know it. All right. That's all I had for news for today.
For the quick stuff before we get to the meat.
That's nice.
The bacon.
Quick stuff took 50 minutes. No, just kidding. All right. Folks, today was the day. Nerd Bacon told you about this back in May of 2018 that this day was going to happen. Google has entered the gaming industry officially with the announcement of Stadia. That's right. For all of your depression and anxiety needs, try Stadia. Stadia is not available without a doctor's prescription.
Side effects could be itchy eyes, runny nose, diarrhea,
shaky hands, and an unnerving desire for more Stadia.
Laggy streaming. What?
Stadia may be habit forming.
Anyway, okay, so
if you notice a third nipple growing, discontinue use of Stadia right away.
Very much so. Okay, so I did not actually watch their stuff live. I because I was at work doing work things and making that money out.
So was I, but I still watched it live.
Okay, fine, great. At least you can have that freedom. Thank you, Dave. So I got some bits and pieces here, but I don't think we're at a point where we are a positive or negative on it. I think we're at a point where there are things to be excited about, and things to question.
Well, let's go through some bullet points first.
Yes, let's do this.
First off, it is the streaming service, Project Stream, what we have seen before. Level Up Justin says, not a great name. I'm laughing because you two took it exactly where I took it. Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, you know what they say, Level Up Justin. Great minds think alike.
And so do ours.
Indeed. All right. So Stadia is the name of Google's streaming platform, their gaming platform.
Okay, real quick, I don't like it. But I mean, okay. Because, like, when you think of Google, there's Google Maps, there's Google Play, there's Google Glass. This does not fit. To me, it doesn't fit the Google umbrella.
I agree. It's a really bad name. It is a colossally bad name. It's one of the worst names, I think, for a product I've ever heard of.
It describes nothing.
It sounds like it's either, like I was joking, it's either a pharmaceutical product, like some sort of drug, or it's a like a sweetener for coffee or something.
Sure. I think they're going to lean to, like, the Stadium. Like, people can watch you, people can play alongside you, and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't roll the way that it should for me. But
if I were in the marketing department, I would have thrown a fit, personally.
I mean, granted, it's not my job to make their names, but I can also judge it.
Should be.
Yep.
All right. So it is a streaming service.
Yes.
Much of what has already been revealed through the beta test of Project Stream and everything. I mean, it was all laid bare. This is what it is. It is a streaming platform. It allows you to play AAA experiences wherever you are, as long as you have a decent internet connection, or I'm sure 5G in the future if you're on mobile devices. So doesn't matter what kind of PC you have. You could have the dinkiest, lowest end PC imaginable that you bought from Walmart on Black Friday for $100. Doesn't matter.
Good for you.
You can still run the highest end games with Stadia. Let's see. So it streams to Chrome, it streams to cell phones, tablets, etc.
Yeah.
Their messaging was stressing inclusiveness. So they're saying it should not be limited to, who has a box under their TV, etc., etc. You should be able to play everywhere. So that's just kind of their marketing concept. Mm-hmm. Servers, here's where it starts getting interesting. It's kind of into the tech end.
Tech specs.
So the servers, the hardware, is being based on new chips being made by AMD. These chips, get this, how many teraflops?
Okay, so we had 6 with the Xbox One, correct? Yeah. So it can't be a minuscule one. I'm going to guess 15.
Not quite that high. That's like powering the mothership.
Okay.
10.7 is what they have.
Okay.
They pointed out that this is more computational power than both the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro combined.
Okay.
That's pretty impressive.
Okay.
So that is what developers have to play with. If that's not enough, they can also use multiple GPUs for rendering. They can really, the platform they say is open for developers. It's like, just let us know how you want to use this and we'll get into it for you. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, here's another piece of hardware that's interesting. They said that traffic between Google's gaming servers and you is going through Google's network. So it's not like it's open to outside internet connections or anything like that. So already it has a more robust online infrastructure than Nintendo does.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Man, put it on a T for you.
Yep. All right. Developers can use multiple GPUs for rendering since it's all cloud-based. The controller that they revealed a brand new controller for this thing.
Yep.
Well, actually, let's stop right there.
Sure.
And let's get on with what it is. It's not a console like I was.
Right.
I was kind of torn. In this past week because my assumption after Project Stream was announced that, okay, it's going to be a streaming service. But then after the controller patent got leaked, I was thinking, well, shoot, this is actually going to be a piece of hardware.
Like a Steam machine or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So my thought was Project Stream that experience may not be ready for prime time yet, but they could probably produce an inexpensive console box that is reasonably powered for a really good price, and that makes sense with the controller, and it would still be tied in with Google's infrastructure, et cetera, et cetera. So I started leaning towards that, but then I was torn because, well, hell, Google doesn't want to be in the console business. They don't want to be putting all that shite together. So
Shite!
Anyway, what do you think of the idea of streaming your games?
The way they're doing it is kind of mind-blowing. So, right, you don't actually need, because even the controller that we'll talk about in a second is optional.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy any physical thing unless you want to run a TV. You gotta buy a Chrome dongle,
sure,
a Chromecast dongle. You don't have to buy any physical thing to take advantage of Stadia. Now, being able to stream it off of your tablet, off of your laptop, off your computer, off your TV, really, there's no limits to what this thing can do.
Right.
Because if anybody has the infrastructure to make this thing work on a base, internet worthy level, or just hardware, or a basic concept level, it's Google.
Yep.
They have the finances and the resources to make this thing work.
Yes.
So that's why if any other company did this, I would say they're crazy.
It's amazing to think that there was so little hype for this in the internet universe going into this event. It felt like people were just kind of ignoring it.
Yeah.
And I'm flabbergasted because how can you ignore when the third richest company in the entire world is coming into your industry? That's like a planet bigger than Jupiter coming into our solar system. The gravitational field is going to affect every other planet in the solar system.
Sure.
I don't know how. I think it's just like wishful thinking that people were ignoring. But anyway, go on.
Oh, I mean that, and the fact that and we'll get to the controller again, like I said, but like Google has the means to make this thing work. Now, I will say what was noticeably absent from their presentation was just, in fact, how much power you needed internet-wise to run this.
Right.
They didn't really put a number on that.
Well, going back to the Project Stream beta test, which I was a part of, I'm intimately familiar with Project Stream. Yep, we're talking about Google Cell Runner.
Yeah, catch up, man. Would you please? Come on.
But going back, their recommendation was that you had at least a 20 megabyte download speed.
Right.
I have a 200 megabyte download speed.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So theoretically, though, it should be at a steady 50 to 70 megabytes down, depending on what Mediacom is allowing at the time.
Right.
Because Mediacom is a terrible company.
Yeah, I've had no problems with them.
Well, good for you.
Thanks.
Anyway, my Project Stream experience was very impressive. I didn't notice a lot of lag in the controls, except for extreme circumstances.
Right.
Like everything was just breaking down, and yeah, I would see really bad lag in controls.
And they even said because you can do couch co-op, and that also did not break the thing down. Also, obviously, the focus needs to be on online multiplayer because that's the gaming world is based around esports and online multiplayer. So it's one thing to say like, hey, you're gonna get a 4K, 60 frames, no lag. You can say that.
Yeah.
But now let's make Battlefield 5 style, epic scale games that everybody's streaming at the same time.
And that was another reason why I wasn't... I started leaning towards the idea that, well, maybe this is going to be an actual console, because they only tested Assassin's Creed before launch.
Right.
I think they need another test of another game that's a little bit more dependent on fast reactions than an adventure game like Assassin's Creed.
Call of Duty like.
They need something like Battlefield or Call of Duty or a fighting game or something. And I was certain that they're going to do another test with Dragon Ball FighterZ, but it just doesn't seem to be panning out yet.
Yep.
Anywho, to get back to my Project Stream experience,
yes,
the worst thing that I would see is resolution drops, which happen frequently, and then you'd get sometimes artifacting.
Sure.
Like you're streaming a video and you just have weird artifacting like you were doing over YouTube or something.
Yep.
So It definitely was not a perfect experience. And I had the resolution drops almost, it felt like constantly, to be quite frank.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, they're talking about, oh, it's going to be ready to stream in 4K, and we've even got functionality built in for 8K as well. And we know people haven't adopted it yet, but it's still there for when it's ready. So
that's your default mocking voice, I think.
Yeah.
That's your kind of go-to accent when you want to mock somebody.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, you guys haven't even done solid 1080p yet.
Right.
So come call me when you do that.
They must have done it in testing somewhere. I mean, because they can't put this thing out and not have something to back it up with.
when the computer is right next to the server room, then it's perfect.
But I mean, even our esteemed editor Kiko Path down in Australia. I mean, she said that she's worried because Australian internet is kind of bunk, and will Project Stream work in Australia? So now you're factoring in, okay, also, by the way, it supports crossplay. I think they did say it supports crossplay.
That's right. That's another interesting thing, too. So I wonder what, if there's going to be any type of advantage that somebody who is not on Project Stream would have over somebody who is on Project Stream. Mm-hmm. Are they going to have to be dealing with the laggies?
Right. If she's down in Australia on her Google Stadia and I'm here in the States on my my PC with my Xbox One controller in my hands,
right?
Am I just gonna besides being a much better gamer, obviously, just kidding, Tico. I mean, do I have an advantage with my controller or mouse and keyboard as opposed to her on the Google Stadia?
Yeah, that's a really good question and something that needs to be worked out before launch.
Yeah.
So let's move on a little bit here. Let's move on to the controller. The controller was revealed, and the controller was leaked through patents and some poorly made renders like the previous weekend. So that's what started kind of kicking the craze off that, hey, this might be an actual console. And I did a couple articles on it. But anyway, the controller has a couple of very neat features.
Yes, also looks very similar to what was leaked. I mean, that leak was
the
not
leaks were like spot on.
Yeah.
Because the renders are based off the patent.
Right.
And yeah. It was funny how Jason Schreier was like, well, the patent was filed in 2014. Okay, yeah, it was filed in 2014, but did you look at the renewal date? January 2019! Anyway.
Right the microphone.
Anyway. The controller has a few different features that are very cool. For one, much like the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, there's a little secret message on the back.
Oh, yeah?
If you turn it over, on its back is the Konami code.
Oh, I figured it would say.
Yeah.
I figured it would say, like, we own you now.
Oh, yeah, well, there's that.
We're watching you.
That's the code they input to get your soul.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But no, they got the
Konami code?
Yeah, they got the Konami code in there, so that's cool. But really, the two big features are, it's got a Google Assist button in there.
Yep.
So you press that, and there's a microphone built into the controller, just like I told everybody that, hey, look at this in the patent. There's a microphone built into the controller. Boy, Jason, if you had read that, you could have written a good article.
Wow.
Anyway.
Shots fired.
Yep.
Again.
So there's a microphone built into the controller, and you press the Google Assist button, and the scenarios that we talked about last week on the show is the exact scenario that they talked about on stage today.
Wait. Wait. Are you telling me that we might actually know what the hell we're talking about?
There's a first time for everything.
High five.
All right. So the scenario that they talked about, imagine that you are sitting there, you're playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you're stuck. How are you going to get Lara Croft out of this tomb? I don't know. I'm going to look at a guide, but that involves reaching into my pocket and getting out my phone, and I don't want to do that. All you do is press the button and say, Google, damn it, help me, son. And then it just brings up a walkthrough based on where you are in the game to help you out. Right there, without having to take your eyes off the game. That's the exact thing we were talking about. So other aspects are probably in there too, like maybe you don't need a headset if you're streaming. I would guess that a headset would be recommended.
Yeah.
But
The reverberations of the TV.
yeah, so the scenarios that we were thinking about, I think they're actually building those in. They're integrating the Google ecosystem into Project Stream, and that's where they're really going to succeed. So anyway, Google Assistant, built-in microphone, huge feature. The other thing is the like the share button. Now this goes beyond screenshots and video clips. What this share button does is allows you to save game states. I found this fascinating. So you're playing a game, you're like, oh man, I just got past this really hard part in this game, and I want to challenge my friends. So you hit that button, and it figures out where you are in the game. It takes all of that info into account, and it takes that info and it turns it into a web link.
Right.
And you send that web link via text or email, whatever, to your friends, and your friends just click on that link, and they're right in the game.
And they're playing
right where you were. Yeah, that is so cool. And my immediate thought was, oh my gosh, Mario Maker 2 with save states and linking those out.
Man.
Holy shnikes, that would be so killer, dude. You wouldn't have to be like searching through, I got to get to my friends list and see what courses they did. No. You just like, here's my save state. Boom, here, Mario challenge for you, Jeff.
Now, they also mentioned the idea of group gaming.
Yeah.
Which is that share button can also go to YouTube and start streaming off of YouTube. So if you're playing on Google Stadia, you can hit the share button, you're streaming on YouTube. You can then, if someone else has a Google Stadia, they can just pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
And you can give them control of your game.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And I think also on top of that, the whole save state idea, Dylan Cuthbert, who is part of the Pixel Junk team and who's had a long history in the gaming world.
Wasn't
back to PS1
he
games.
the programmer for Star Fox? I'm pretty sure he was.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, all right.
And he's got ties to Nintendo and Sony in the early days. But he said his studio is working on a game that will take advantage of that exact concept. He couldn't say too much more about it, but he said, no, there are games in the works where that is a main gameplay element. So developers, and by the way, there's like 100+ developers who have access to a dev version of Stadia.
They talked about Zero.
Right. Yeah, no one actually mentioned. But say we know that Ubisoft's on board. We know Bandai Namco's on board.
Right.
So we can only imagine who else is going to be a part of this.
We're fairly confident that Sega is on board as well.
Yeah.
They keep talking about exclusives, but that's one thing they didn't talk about was games and studios. But anyway,
and they did mention the Stadia Games Entertainment Studio, the actual Google in-house studio.
Yes.
So they will have first-party titles exclusive to Google Stadia through GSE.
Yep.
Studio.
So they announced they're setting up that studio that's being headed by Jade Raymond, who it was announced just last week that she was hired on as a VP of Google.
Your BFF.
Yeah, my new BFF. Here we go.
Who came up with Assassin's Creed?
Yeah,
Ubisoft. That's
right.
So there's some star power right there already.
That's why they got Assassin's Creed.
Well, I mean.
Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of the stuff on the controller and hitting in with some of the different like.
What do you think of the design of it? It looks very much like a Switch Pro controller to me.
Right. It's nothing special as far as design. It's a very safe design.
Yes.
Which is okay. I mean, if the wheel's not broke, there's no reason to go fixing it.
Right.
But with that being said, those two features I think that are built into the controller are key to me. And
right.
I think to me that's the difference between I'll just play this with my Xbox One controller, which you can do. You can use any USB controller that you want to play Stadia. I keep wanting to say Project Stream.
Yeah.
Any USB controller that you have lying in the house you can use to play Stadia. But if you want to have that Google integration and everything, then you get the Google controller. And I don't know, man. That's tasty to me.
Nothing really screams Google about the controller itself. They did show white, black, and gray. I think there were the three colors they were showed off.
Okay, yeah.
Nothing of it really screams Google, and nothing really helps it stand out from like all my black controllers that I have laying around my Xbox, my PS4, and everything, and my Switch Pro controller. Everything's black.
Well, you ask yourself, how much more black could this be?
Oh, it could be super black.
The answer is none.
Oh, all
none
the
more
black. All of the black.
All of the black.
But yeah, if you want to take full advantage of what Google has to offer, you get a controller. My biggest question, I think we'll probably, this is kind of the big question everybody has. What's the price model here?
Right.
What am I paying a subscription to Google? Because when they made it seem like a really cool feature that they showed off that I wanted to touch on briefly is they specifically mentioned you can watch a trailer for a game, hit the button, and you're playing within 5 seconds.
Yep, exactly.
If that technology works as advertised, is absolutely mind-blowing.
That's very, very cool.
If I'm watching the Doom Eternal trailer and I hit the button and I'm playing Doom Eternal in 5 seconds, first of all, I didn't pay for the game itself. So who am I paying monies to? There's no download. There's no, install. Nothing. It's just boop, go.
I think you're paying the money to Google. And the developers who put games on the platform are getting a cut. So remember a few weeks ago we talked about this indie developer who had tweeted out how they had been contacted by a dozen different platform holders, all asking them about putting their game on their upcoming streaming service. And this developer was like, that's really cool, but here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried because they are all going to move towards paying us not for putting the content on there, but they're going to pay us by how many hours our content is streamed.
Right.
So that could have a negative impact on smaller developers.
Sure.
And we talked about that a few episodes ago. Is that something that could end up becoming detrimental to the indie scene where the market isn't worth it and you start cutting out some of those smaller developers, and now we start losing some of those voices and losing that diversity of game types and game ideas and everything? That's a danger.
It is, but I think there's always going to be that safe haven of, hey, by the way, we have, should I call it a safe haven, but things like Steam and the Epic Game Store and Good Old Games, and, stuff like that. They're going to keep those things there, and you're going to have that physical copy. But yeah, the scenes are shifting.
Right.
And they did show they did hint at some really big titles. Obviously Doom Eternal was mentioned by name.
Yep.
Red Dead Redemption 2, Civilization 6, they were showing icons that are reminiscent of, okay, this a cowboy hat and boots and stuff, and that's Red Dead, and they have a piece of wood and a building, and that's Civilization.
They did show gameplay footage of the NBA 2K series, which is also published by 2K, so there's a possibility that Rockstar's on board with this. I wouldn't be surprised.
So I can finally play Red Dead on a PC just through Stadia.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But like I said, I came away from all this info dump, I'm excited for what this is going to be. I'm not going to because I want to see how this payment structure is. If it's $60 a month, that's kind of a hard sell. But at the same time, it's that kind of makes sense because you're paying for one full price game per month, basically.
Sure.
So I just want to see and I think this is the perfect spot for an E3 conference where they can say, okay, here's our pricing platform.
And I think that's what's going to happen because, as you said, they did not really mention anything in price. All they said was, this is launching in 2019, and we'll tell you more about it in the summer.
Right.
So that sounds like E3 to me.
Yeah, and we got a 2019 release date for this thing.
So there's that. They didn't mention any games or any of the studios that they're really partnering with besides Ubisoft and thanking them for the use of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Well, if they mentioned Doom Eternal by name,
they mentioned that by name, right? So that's the only one, but nothing else. So I really think the chances are 90% right now that Google comes in and takes that Sony spot.
Probably.
E3.
They're going to have a presence there in some fashion. And because everyone has questions now. But I think it'll be hard. We're at a weird place right now. Are people willing to accept that streaming is the future? And are people going to give this even a chance to succeed? We'll see. Right now I am excited to learn more about this feature.
Well, somebody on Twitter, I think it was Benji Sales again, raised a really good point on Twitter, and it's a point we've been raising as well, is that regardless of what you think about Stadia and Google doing streaming, what people need to realize is that Sony is doing streaming already with PlayStation Now.
Yep.
And they're probably working behind the scenes. I'm sure they're going to try and partner with somebody to
sure.
try and really like overhaul PlayStation Now and turn it into something that's actually valuable.
Sure.
Right now, PlayStation Now sucks.
Kind of crap, yeah.
Microsoft is working on xCloud. We know Verizon is maybe teasing a gaming service.
Yep.
We know that Amazon is working on a gaming service. And who knows who else might be working on streaming. Oh, Apple, thank you very much. You saved my bacon right there.
I got you. That's what I'm here for, is your bacon.
So anyway, all these companies are working on streaming. So that tells you is that that's where the industry is going. All the industry movers and shakers have decided this is where we're going. This is our future. And they're moving towards that. The question is, how fast do we achieve that future? That I don't know. Like I've been saying, my Project Stream experience was good, but it wasn't excellent.
And there's the business side of the behind the scenes Google thing. How cost effective is this? Because they don't have to put out a box.
Yeah.
They're all they're doing is putting out more Chromcasts.
Yeah.
And they're putting out the controllers.
Yeah.
Which aren't that expensive to Google. It's nothing to Google to make those controllers.
What they're gonna make? It's like $30 in them maybe, and they're gonna charge $60.
I hope they don't go all Sony and charge like $100 for a damn controller. But I mean, cost effective wise, even if this thing does not pan out for Google, they're not at a huge loss.
Right.
I mean, the loss might be the server infrastructure, but they're already pretty high because of Google Fiber. Like Google is set up already to make this thing work.
Gosh, I wish Google Fiber would come to town.
I know.
I would drop Mediacom so fast. You hear me, Mediacom?
it.
I would drop you like a rock.
Can you have Mediacom Fiber?
Yeah. No.
How about brand fiber?
One other aspect about the technology that I wanted to hit, and we're coming to a close on Google.
Okay.
Now. But the other thing, since you're a big streamer, you stream a lot more games than I do.
Yes.
I like to talk. You like to play.
Yeah. Oh.
That's why we're perfect together.
Who needs kid and play when you have talk and play?
Anyway, so with streaming technology, if you're streaming through Stadia and I'm watching you and you have this feature turned on, your audience can jump into the game with you and play just right there from Stadia. If you're playing like Toe Jam and Earl or something like that, and you've got the feature turned on, and I'm like, yeah, I want to play with Jeff. I just hit that button, and boom, right there with you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That opens up a lot of opportunities.
Well, think about this as well. Going back to what I was saying about integrating Google's infrastructure. So you pop in to the game right away, and then if you've got Google Hangouts integrated in, whoop, I'm on screen with you right there. Just so... That's really where they're going to win.
Simplicity. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where they're going to win.
One button away from, like, a lot of streaming is, I'm playing a game on Twitch or wherever I'm on Twitch. But, like, having that extra layer of, viewer interactivity. I mean, we all try to be interactive with our chat as much as possible. This is another level. Like, hey, do you actually want to play the game? Or do you want to just pop your face on my stream?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like... This opens up opportunities not only from just a streaming level, but now games can take advantage of that.
Yep.
So now, with this many developers getting their hands on it, there are some crazy ideas out there already that integrate Twitch chat in with actual games. This opens up a new door.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, like I said, that I think is where Google can really win the future.
Now I know they're gonna be heavily into YouTube for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah,
but I would assume you can also stream on Twitch and Mixer and what have you.
I think so. But I think the integration is going to be right there with Google, and I don't know if you're going to have some of those features like being able to pop right into a stream with their streamer. I don't know if that's going to be available on Twitch.
Well, like I said,
if I were Amazon, I wouldn't allow it. I just would be like, no, that's what we want to do with our platform,
stop
dude.
taking our ideas. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing against, like, if I'm playing and then having, Skype,
Yep. I wanted to talk a little bit about the event itself, just kind of hit on that because...
oh, yeah.
Yeah, for as exciting as a moment as this is in the industry, I felt the event was very, very milquetoast. And boy, oh boy, if you want to talk about the wrong way to start off an event,
okay,
putting out Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, he gets up there, and the first thing he basically says is, well, I'm not really a gamer. I mean, why are you there then? Just have Phil do the whole thing, or have Jade come out and introduce. Could you imagine the reaction if, welcome to Google's Play, and now we'd like to introduce to you Vice President at Google, Jade Redmond.
Yeah.
I mean, she already got, speaking in wrestling terms, she already got a huge pop coming out at her introduction later on in the show. But if she had opened the show, if that's how Google had introduced it with Jade Redmond,
or at least a celebrity, like, you know, have put Joel McHale. I mean, not Joel
no,
McHale,
no,
but, you know,
no celebrities. I think Phil Harrison would have been enough, and I think Jade Redmond would have been enough.
Well, anybody, but the CEO who is not a gamer.
Yeah, I mean, and comes out there immediately saying, I'm not really that much of a gamer. About the only game that I really have played is like when you have no connection on Android and you get that stupid little bip.
Jesus.
Like, he literally said that. And I was just like, what are you thinking?
Like, you can say that later on, but don't start your existence by doing that.
Right. Talk about how important games are to our culture now, and how gaming is part of the fabric of our society. It's gone from just like something that wasn't really talked about and just, you know, people playing in the basement or whatever, and now it's just like games are everywhere, and we're launching this service. I should be in marketing, damn it.
Yeah.
Really. I would have come out and said exactly that. Like, games have been on an incredible journey for the past 40 or 50 years. 40 years. We've been on this incredible journey together. We've gone from just kind of a subculture of people who played games in their spare time, and now we're filling stadiums. Games are everywhere. Games are the culture now. And everyone has the opportunity to play games. And we wanted to embrace that with our new initiative, Google Stadia. Google Stadia is the first platform that is truly all-inclusive because you don't need a box. I should have been on stage, damn it. Google, if you're watching, just talk to me, man. Just talk to me. I don't even have to be on stage. Just come talk to me. I'll tell you how to do this. Nintendo, if you're watching, I can help you too. Microsoft, Sony, I got ideas for all of you. It's fine. Just hit me up on Twitter. Just DM me. Yeah, hit us up. We're nice guys. We know how to do this.
We're a package deal at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, two heads. We can help you guys out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I would have said instead of coming out and kind of decrying it as well, I'm not really a gamer, because you're giving everybody just all this fodder of, well, Google doesn't know what they're doing. Yep. Google doesn't belong.
They don't know. They don't care.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of Sundar anyway, but I'm not going to go into
That's a whole other podcast.
That is a whole other podcast. So, I felt that their presentation itself could definitely have used some work. And
oh, sure. And it come E3, it will.
I hope so. And again, I would say put Jade front and center, because people love Jade. They want to listen to Jade. Phil is great, but Phil is a veteran. And he's very slick. He's very knowledgeable. He's great. But with that being said, at some points, I felt like I was watching an E3 2010 press event. It just felt very, very, like I said, milquetoast, very corporate, very sterile.
Sure.
Somebody that I was talking to on Twitter was like, you know what? This felt soulless.
Okay.
Yeah. So my advice for you, Google, is E3, if you're there, put Jade out. Just let her take the ball. It's fine.
You know what else felt soulless?
What's that?
The Switch announcement.
What was that?
When they announced the Nintendo Switch, I think that felt kind of soulless to me too. If I remember right.
You're right. I came away from that announcement not feeling very good about it. You're very...
Because didn't the whole thing with Suda51 just totally come off as like lifeless?
Yeah, it totally did.
It was like, he's one of the most entertaining people in the business, and they somehow took that and made it awkward as hell.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Anyway, like I said, I'm to kind of put a bow on things. I'm excited to see what this can become, because this is going to be a major player.
Right. This is, I mean, make no mistake, we may not understand it right. A lot of people may not understand it right now, but this is the beginning of what I call the fifth age of gaming. This is a new era. The first age of gaming was the Magnavox Odyssey up through the Great Crash after E.T.
Sure.
Second age of gaming is like the NES era through the 16-bit era up until PlayStation.
Okay. The cartridge era.
Exactly. The third era was the shift over to CD format.
Sure, and load times.
Yep, so you had that, like the PlayStation 95 up through like 2001.
And you put the N64 in there. The cartridge, yeah, but that's still
right.
that 3D generation.
Right. The fourth age would have been the budding of Microsoft and the advent of online play. So that would have been maybe 2004, 2005. You saw Sega get out of the business, back in 2002. Maybe 2001 was the beginning of that era. So you had Sega bow out.
The Dreamcast.
You had Microsoft come in. You had two big events happen in that we had the advent of online play and then the shift over to the HD generation.
Okay.
So that was from 2001/2004 or 5 up through current day today.
See, I think the fifth age could have been the games as a service.
I think the games as service is rolled into this new fifth age.
Okay. All right.
So the fifth age is just dawning now, and you're right. This is the age of games as service. That is a great way to put it. And it's not just games, but it's also the platforms as service as well. Mm-hmm. And that is the age that we're moving into. And this is the beginning of a all-digital post-console world. The fifth age has begun, perhaps the final age of gaming, because after a post-console future, what do we have left?
Twinkies. This is the dawning of the age of streaming stuff.
Last thing I'll say is that we are already feeling the impact of Google's arrival and the beginning of the fifth age of gaming. We are seeing it with what the counter moves are of their rivals, the established players in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Microsoft last week. We talked about this. They demoed the xCloud during Inside Xbox, which, by the way, some are saying that the footage was faked, or at least that they had the assist mode on for Forza Horizon 4.
No boy.
Yeah. So basically they're saying that the footage that was being shown on the cell phone did not match up with her controller motions, and they are right. So
okay, fine.
Maybe Microsoft was forced to show that a little bit early.
Okay, fine, but show me an E3 where every demo was legit.
That's very true.
Moving on.
Nintendo is doing a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, actually, which is not out of the ordinary for them to do an indie Nintendo Direct. However, Nintendo is doing a 30-minute Direct, which is like inexplicably long for an indie Direct for them. So it feels like there's going to be something big in there.
Something big might be coming, I think.
Yeah. So that is definitely a counter move because of Stadia.
I mean, I don't think it's completely because of Stadia, but I think it's in part because of Stadia.
Right. The timing is right there. And I even tweeted out over the weekend, I was like, you know what? If I were Nintendo, it's all about staying in the news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were Nintendo, I would on Wednesday or Thursday say, and here is when you'll be playing Super NES games on Nintendo Online.
Right.
That's what I would have said. But they had a Nintendo Direct ready to roll.
I mean, because they really haven't been in the news too much outside of, oh, by the way, Mario Maker 2 is coming out in June.
Yeah.
What was it? I mean, they had a big release yet? I mean, I know Yoshi's Crafted World is kind of their big March title,
which got really good reviews in Famitsu, if that's worth anything anymore.
Okay. I don't know. For me right now, I'm kind of looking to like, Sekiro looks pretty dang good, and then a month away or from what it is.
And then finally, we don't know what Sony is going to do yet.
Right.
But a lot of leaks are showing EA Access now running on PlayStation 4, and it's actually in the EA Access code, PlayStation 4 compatibility. So I suspect that announcement's coming either tomorrow or Thursday. So that is definitely a counter move. And then there was one more that somebody sent me as well, and that was Apple. This is from 9 to 5 Mac. Apple updates iMac with new 6-core and 8-core Intel CPUs with Radeon Pro Vega graphics options.
For Apple's move into the gaming world.
Right. So Apple has just dropped new iMacs on the Apple Store, the same design with new internals. The 21.5-inch iMac features 8th generation Intel CPUs and quad-core and 6-core SKUs. The 27-inch iMac houses 9th generation Intel CPUs. Intel's actually going to introduce a GPU next year. With 6-core and 8-core configurations.
Okay.
Apple says these new processors deliver up to 2 times the performance of the previous generation of iMac. In terms of GPU, Apple now offers Radeon Pro Vega graphics upgrades in both 21.5-inch and 27-inch form factors. The new iMacs are available today in the Apple Store, starting at only $1,299.
Oh, God.
Or an upgraded version for $1,799.
That's definitely in their price
nothing.
range.
It's nothing. So
that's what they normally go for. So that's not out of the realm of ordinary.
So those are all moves and counter moves that are being done because of Google, and we're gonna see more. This year is only almost a quarter of the way done. We are now less than 3 months away from E3. It's only gonna get more crazy from here on out. But Jeff,
hi.
Any last words on Google before we move on to something non-Google related?
I mean, the dominoes are falling, and I came out of this, like I said, I'm interested to see more, and I think people who are trying to write this off as the next Ouya are out of their mind.
Those people are stupid.
They're out of their mind.
Just plain stupid.
Because it's not a small-time company getting involved. It's Google. It's a company that has the infrastructure, has the resources. They can pull this off. And their moves they're making are currently setting them apart from the main players already.
Plus, it's not an Android player like Ouya was. So, I mean, you're already light years ahead. I mean, it's working off of power that's more robust than both of the major consoles put together.
And they have this selling point. You don't have to buy any physical thing.
Right.
If you don't want to buy anything, you don't have to.
Right.
You want to play it on a PC, you already have everything you need to play Stadia.
Bottom line is, this is a big deal. This is the beginning of the future of the industry. The question is it too soon? Again, that experience with Project Stream was good, but not great. I think it needed a little bit more time in the can, and I think we need to get at least one more public test of Stadia before it launches. And
because not only now are you introducing a new player in, like, when Sony first got into the business of the PS1, it was a new company and a new media. This is Google, a well-known new company, with a new media, streaming, but that's also a new concept of streaming. So this is not just a shift in how we play games. This is a generational shift with how we experience our titles.
Yep,
and consume them. So
absolutely.
There's a lot of pressure on Google right now, but I think they can handle it.
Also, a lot of questions of what happens when tying yourself into that ecosystem with game saves and things like that. But I guess that's a question that's going to be asked of everybody as we move forward.
We're going to see more at E3.
E3 is the time, and of course we will be, hard to believe we're already at E3 point. But
this is going to be a landmark E3.
Nerd Bacon will be covering E3 with all sorts of lovely grease. We will be broadcasting every single conference and offering our live reactions to that. So
I enjoy doing those.
I love doing those. So if you want to hang out and react with us and watch the future of gaming unfold, the wildest E3 the wildest E3 that we will ever see.
It's true.
My oh my. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you're watching YouTube, so you can stay abreast of whenever we go live. Hit the follow button. We're not even asking for a subscribe on Twitch. That's fine. We're not asking for money. No. Just hit follow, just so we can tell you when we're going live.
We're here. We love this. I mean, we'd love to get paid at some point for doing this, but we love this industry.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. So make sure you hang out with us for E3 coming up here in June. All right, let's move on. There were two major gaming things that occurred. First off,
yes,
we had over the weekend the tastiest moment for you, my friend.
Oh my God!
The Mortal Kombat 11 beta test. You got invited to the beta.
I did.
I was too busy to even. I didn't get an invite. I didn't have it pre-ordered. That's why. But
well, so what this?
Tell me all about it. So I'm dying.
Okay, so this was what they called the stress test.
Ooh.
So this wasn't even because the pre-order beta is this weekend.
I'm feeling stressful just thinking about it.
Right. So basically, you had to sign up through NetherRealm Studios website, and they invited people in through Xbox One and PS4. I suck at Mortal Kombat 11.
No. No. Say it ain't so, Jefferoth.
So they had three characters. They had Scorpion, Baraka, and Scarlet.
Uh-huh.
And they had a smattering of the... I love the word smattering. A smattering of the...
Especially when you're talking about Mortal Kombat.
I know, because it just... Because so they had a light selection of the gear. So you weren't earning loot, you were just kind of switching them out and seeing how they look on the characters. And it was purely online. And so I play a lot of Scorpion because it's, I'm a Mortal Kombat veteran. Scorpion is, synonymous with the franchise. So.
By the way, if I can interrupt you for just a second, if you go back, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, if you go and check our YouTube channel, go back a few episodes, we interviewed a couple of the Mortal Kombat motion capture actors. We interviewed, who did we interview? We interviewed Nick
and Steven.
Yep, Nick and Steven. Steven, who does the motion capture for Scorpion, so...
In MKX.
Yes, in MKX.
Yep.
As far as we know.
The game, I will say, does play a little slower than MKX did.
Oh.
I can definitely feel the Injustice 2 trappings on this, as far as how it feels, how it runs. I'm playing Injustice 2 a little bit.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's something different that I'm getting used to, because I played a lot of MKX. I think MKX is one of my favorite Mortal Kombat games, and I played a lot of Injustice 2. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of okay, this is the next progression, obviously. Some people are real good at it. I don't think I actually won a match my entire. I think I played maybe 10 to 15 matches, didn't win one.
Isn't that funny how people are just instantly good?
Yeah, I think I played Sonic Fox every match. I must have. That's the only way someone can beat me. But no, just getting used to the interactive. I got stabbed through the chest with a flag and just the blood flag. It looks tremendous. Even on my base Xbox One, it looks tremendous. And it's just, my hype level is going up. At the same time, I'm like, I need to get better at this game because I can't keep losing all these matches.
Does it inspire you to want to get better, or is it a little bit frustrating?
It does, because obviously I've lost my touch when it comes to Mortal Kombat. I was a lot better at, MK3 and, the 3D MKs before getting to... I got decent at MKX. But yeah, going slower and not having... The combos come out a little slower, and they're shorter combos than what I'm used to. I think, again, it's just me needing to get the mechanics down. But I came out... I didn't have that many server issues. I had a couple of instances of slowdown, and some of them just straight up paused on me. But that's what the stress test is for. Is for getting the kinks out. So I wasn't too upset about that because I'm doing the job. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Is supposed to break. That's the point of this. But no, it's just the more I played it, the more my hype level is through the roof. I cannot wait for this damn game.
I was just gonna ask, thumbs up so far?
Thumbs way up. It's just.
Is it a definite pre-order?
Oh yeah, I'm getting the $100 version, not the $300 version. That'd be insane. I'm getting the $100 versions, come with the fighter pass and all that. The Johnny Cage trailer was amazing.
Yes, that was so good.
I'm glad he's back. My thoughts on the roster so far, I want to dig more into the previous games, because now we're getting Cassie and Jackie and Aaron Black. I'm like, okay, I understand we need the recent characters, but go back. Give me Stryker, give me Sindel, give me Give me the weird ones from the 3D ones. Give me Jarek. Give me Reiko. Give me Cobra. I want Cobra in this game so bad. So the idea was he was in Deception because the idea was that, according to rumor and innuendo, they were going to have Ken in the game from Street Fighter. Like Street Fighter what? Ken was going to be in Mortal Kombat Deception. No. And at the last second, they backed out. Well, they had this character model, so they called him, K for Cobra. And kept him in the game, and basically made him a Ken facsimile.
Interesting.
That was the tale going around. I can't confirm because obviously it don't work for them, but I want the weird ones in this game. I want them to go back into their history and pull some weird ones out. But we'll see. That comes out April 23rd, and I cannot wait.
That's just like right over a month away.
I know. I am losing my mind.
Now you say it looks tremendous. Last question I'll ask on Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. Can you somehow fathom a Switch version running well? On base Switch?
On this base Switch.
With all the rumors of an upgrade coming out. On base Switch, do you think it's possible, or do you think it's going to be exclusive to whatever upgraded Switch is coming out?
I think they can do it, because if they can...
Really?
But it's going to be, they're going to de-res it a little bit. Because if they make Doom work on a Switch... They can make Mortal Kombat 11 work on it. It's just going to take some technical limitations and knock it down a little bit for it to run properly.
My thinking was that if they can't get SNK Heroines to run at 60 frames, there's no way they're going to get this one to work.
That's a much bigger issue because that game is garbage.
Well, I mean, you have that opinion that it's garbage. I think it's okay, but we could both agree it's a much less graphically intense game than Mortal Kombat 11 is. Sure. And they still are not able to get 60 frames per second on that. And I mean, graphically, it was pretty much on par with the PlayStation 4 version, but the frames per second, and there was just like a lot of slowdown and jerky motion with the Switch version from what we played at EVO last year. So to me, that makes me worry about a Switch version of Mortal Kombat 11.
If you are serious about Mortal Kombat, you're not buying on the Switch.
Right.
If you're serious about it, you're buying it on an Xbox One or a PS4.
And I think it's very interesting and telling as well that we have not seen Mortal Kombat 11 for the Switch in public yet.
Right. Yeah. And I think is that supposed to come out day and date?
Apparently.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything different.
We shall see.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Last thing for the agenda for tonight. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your battles in DC. Tell us about squatting up. Tell us about The Division 2.
I'm getting the shakes right now.
Oh no!
Because
we need to get you some Stadia.
No, my side effects. I freaking love The Division 2, and like I said, I've streamed this a lot over the past week. Just me playing the game. The more I play The Division 2, the more I want to keep playing The Division 2. Like, it really has its... This is the loot shooter that I wanted Anthem to be.
Really?
Because I'm getting loot on a regular basis, and I'm getting, the good tier loot on a regular clip. So the level cap is 30. I'm now level 13 in the main game and level 13 in the Dark Zone. But I mean, there is so much to do in this game. Not just the main missions, but all the side quests, the collectibles, all the just random stuff happening in the world. There is so much to do in this game. If you're bored, it's kind of your own fault. And it's real simple to group up. The idea is to play co-op. I mean, they stress, play co-op, you have a better time, and you do. At any point in the game, if you hit, call for backup in the open world, it'll send a signal out to anybody in the area.
Oh, wow.
And all you do is, hold one of the buttons, you're in. And you need to link up. I have had no problems connecting to people. And you matchmake in the actual story mode as well. But you can just do free roam stuff with random people if you want to, which is real nice. My issue is that there really is no story to speak of, and this is more of The Division. If things in the first game bothered you, they didn't really address that in the second one. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. The story is that it's 7 months after the outbreak in New York. And then you play. That's pretty much the setup of the story, is that, oh, by the way, now kind of the entire nation is going to... they substitute storytelling with imagery because it's, look at dilapidated Washington, D.C.
Sure.
And, look at this imagery of the White House. The White House is your main HQ, base of operations. And, like, your first mission is going up through the yard and through the mall and through, the front yard of the White House. Like, oh, look at how cool, look at how the imagery is very iconic and doesn't make you feel like you're in a war. Like, okay, fine, I get it, but
it's kind of a Civil War power fantasy almost.
Kind of, all yeah. Right. And you see the Washington Monument in the background. You go through all these these landmarks, and it's kind of cool to see. But at the same time, it's like but I also want some story here. Like, why am I gunning down the True Sons? Why am I dealing with the hyenas? Who are these people? And you get them through, cell phones. You pick up. You go through these echoes, and you just get all these things on the fringe as far as story goes. There's an actual like progression to main story campaigns, but none of it really matters.
Okay.
But to balance that out, the actual game is just fun to play. The actual playing of the game, there is no substitute for good storytelling. And the way they tell a story is kind of crappy. But that does not deter me from having a good time in this game. I like seeing the fact that it's not winter this time around. It's actually colorful. I see grass and I see animals, and I can also shoot like birds and deer and stuff. It doesn't matter, but I still gun them down. But now I'm in the dark zone now.
Oh.
So it's I can. So any there's instance off, so you can see actual players. Also, so it's PvP VE. So
sure.
Every player is a good guy. Unless you decide to not be a good guy anymore. And I get contaminated loot, and I call in a helicopter, put the loot on the helicopter. Someone else can come up, cut the line, gun me down, take my stuff, and go.
Oh, wow.
Or they can also play nice, and we just get out alive together. So that mode's great. I also did the proper PvP, conflict mode and stuff. But there's just so much to do in this game, and all the future content is going to be free. The year one pass that you pay money for is like I think like an XP boost, and you get I got 3 days early, which is gone now, obviously. Some sweet gear, but all the future content will be free.
Okay,
and
that's pretty amazing.
I'm just having a great time with this game. It made me. Earlier I said, I'm going to play DMC5 and this together. I put DMC5 on the shelf.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not saying Division is a better game than DMC5.
But it's just hitting you more.
It's got the hooks in me, and I want to keep playing more of that.
Yeah, very interesting. Your comment before about how it's really not much different gameplay-wise from the Division. It sounds like it's a game made for Division fans,
absolutely.
Basically. Which there are plenty out there.
I put this in the same realm as Destiny, and the fact that Destiny fans just wanted more Destiny. Once you saw the content, you just wanted more content.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing, really.
No, and again with the Division, it's just it's more refined. It's they channel the efforts into stuff they should. But if you didn't like things in the first game, you won't like them this time around because nothing really much has changed. It's just quality of life got a little bit better for the most part. Some stuff's still a hassle, but this is a game made for Division fans, and it's a better Division game.
Very good, very good. So it sounds like resounding thumbs up.
Yes.
For Division, and so far, tentative thumbs up for Mortal Kombat 11.
Yes.
Whew. All right. Gaming season is rolling around.
And just what? Next week, we got not only MLB The Show, but we got Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Oh my gosh.
And then April brings us Mortal Kombat 11.
Crazy.
Oh
Be
God.
Still My Beating Wallet. All right. Well, speaking of things that are rolling along.
Speaking of things.
It is about time to wrap up this podcast. Jeff, any final words, anything you want to say to put a cap on this week?
The gaming landscape is now officially changing, and this E3 will be one of the biggest E3s of our lives.
Just as the road to WrestleMania is ongoing, the road
Kofi Mania!
The road to E3 has begun.
Yep.
Join us in less than 3 months because Nerd Bacon will be covering all of E3 2019.
And
you won't want to miss it.
And join us next week, because we do this podcast every Tuesday night.
That's right. If you're watching us replayed on YouTube, be sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're watching us on Twitch, be sure to hit follow. Be sure to like us on Facebook and give us a shout out on Twitter. You can find us at nerd_bacon. And you can find me at Dave the Watchman on Twitter. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Jefferoth, also at twitch.tv/Jefferoth, where I have been streaming The Division 2 a lot as of late.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm usually about 4 to 5 times a week. Something. Now, my schedule cleared up a little bit more, so I'll be there more often, hopefully. But
sounds good.
Go follow there, too.
I'm ready to see your fight for DC.
Yes!
Final words?
Thank you all for watching the Game Tasting Show. If you're listening to us in audio version, share it. Tell your friends. We love doing it. We're here every week, and we love new people stopping in, asking questions, being part of the Nerd Bacon crew.
Sure, and if you don't like it, go ahead and share it anyway and say, hey, listen to these jerks.
These guys are assholes.
New season of Arrested Development. I'm not that into it.
Yeah, I kind of stopped after the third season, and then Netflix rebooted, and it hasn't been the same ever since.
No, it hasn't. I think that Brilliance, and Mitch Hurwitz was brilliant in those first 3 seasons. Sometimes I think Brilliance is a point in time thing. It's like you're hit with this inspiration and you're just on fire for a little bit, and then if you try and go back to that, you don't always have that same magic. I don't know why. It's a very weird thing about creative.
At some point it's too late to reboot and catch the fire.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not quite through the rest of that second part of season 5 yet. I'm hoping it gets better, but just seems like there's magic missing there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I need to see Captain Marvel here before too long.
Yeah. It's almost time for. Hey, what's up, Kiko Path? Almost time for Endgame as well.
Oh my God! Woo! Endgame.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for the Game Tasty Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 Central. Next week, we'll be talking about our impressions of Nintendo's Indie Showcase and all of the pertinent news and info that drops. Until next time.
Yes.
Oh, Kikopath says that her thoughts on Stadia are currently pending on our site. That means I'm going to publish it right now.
Hey, we mentioned you earlier on the show, so you may want to go back and notice how we mentioned you.
All right, thanks so much for watching the Game Tasty Show. For everybody here at nerdbacon.com, I'm Dave the Watchman.
And I am Jefferoff.
Thanks so much for watching, and now and forever, be sure that you game tasty. Good night, all.